All right, today we're going to unpack some really powerful ideas. We're talking about ambition, destiny, and that big journey to finally achieve what you've always wanted. We're going to follow the story of a shepherd to find a treasure that, well, might be a lot closer than you think. So let's get into it.
So let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever felt this? That at some point, no matter how much you plan, no matter how hard you work, something else, fate, maybe luck, just takes the wheel? It's a really common feeling, especially when you're aiming for something big and things get tough. You can't help but wonder, am I actually in control here?
Well, that feeling, that idea, it actually has a name. It's called the world's greatest lie. It's this belief that we're just passengers, that things just happen to us. And honestly, this one single idea is what holds so many of us back from chasing the work, the life we really truly want. It's like an invisible wall between who you are now and who you could be.
So how do we tear down that wall? Here's the plan. We're going to tackle that world's greatest lie head on. Then we'll talk about what it means to find your personal legend. We'll see how the universe is actually on your side and dig into the weird way we sometimes find comfort in not achieving our dreams. And then we'll wrap it all up with 3 practical lessons, a quick recap, and a clear next step for you.
Okay, so if the big lie is the problem, then what's the solution? Well, it's this concept of your personal legend. Just think of it as your unique calling. That one big thing you've always deep down wanted to accomplish. It's not just a career path, it's your mission.
Now really let that sink in for a second. This isn't just a nice-to-have or some weekend hobby. The core message here is that going after this purpose, it's your only real obligation. That kind of reframes things, doesn't it? It takes your biggest dream from a maybe someday to a must-do right now.
So, to be super clear about it, your personal legend is that dream that just keeps popping back into your head. You know, when you were a kid, you knew exactly what it was. Maybe it was building something from scratch, creating art, leading a team. As we get older, life kind of buries that clarity under a pile of shoulds and what-ifs. But that desire, that mission, it's still in there.
And there's this great story that brings this to life, about a young shepherd named Santiago. His parents wanted him to be a priest, you know, the safe, respectable path. But his personal legend, his dream, was to travel the world. So he made a choice. He took his inheritance, bought a flock of sheep, and walked away from everything he knew. The journey never starts with a perfect plan. It starts with one single, brave step away from what's comfortable.
But what happens after you take that step? Once you actually commit to your personal legend, something powerful starts to happen. It's like you stop swimming against the current. Instead, you'll start to find that the world itself begins to work with you.
This is probably the most famous idea from the whole story, and it's a big one. It's this promise that when you truly commit, the world will conspire in your favor. Now, this isn't about magic. It's about a shift in your perception. When you're locked in on your purpose, you suddenly start seeing opportunities that were invisible to you before.
So how does this conspiracy actually play out in the real world? Well, it shows up in a few key ways. First, you get what's called beginner's luck. That early win that gives you a taste of success and makes you think, hey, I can actually do this. Then you start reading the omens. These aren't magic signs. There are things like market feedback, your own intuition, a chance conversation, signals that you're heading in the right direction. And finally, the right people, mentors, partners, your ideal clients, they start showing up, but only after you've taken the leap.
I mean, think of it like this. At one point, a butterfly appears right when Santiago needs a sign. Was it magic? Or was it just a signal from the world that confirmed what his gut was already telling him? The real skill here is just learning to pay attention, to see the patterns, to trust your intuition, and to recognize an opportunity when it flies by.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but the journey isn't always a straight line. There are obstacles. But the biggest one, it's probably not what you think. It's not the fear of failure. For a lot of ambitious people, the biggest obstacle is actually the hidden fear of succeeding.
On his journey, Santiago meets this crystal merchant who has had the same dream his entire life, to make a pilgrimage to Mecca. He's got the money, he's got the time, but he never goes. And why not? Because the dream of Mecca is what gets him through the day. The idea of it gives him hope. He's terrified that if he actually goes, the dream will be over and he'll have nothing left to live for.
So right here, we see these two totally different mindsets. You've got Santiago, the pursuer. For him, the dream is a destination, something to get to. He's driven by the idea of making it happen. Then you have the merchant, the dreamer. For him, the dream is just fuel to keep his current life going. He's paralyzed by the fear of what happens after the dream comes true.
He chooses the comfort of the dream over the messy reality of pursuing it. Which one of those sounds a little too familiar?
And there it is, straight from the merchant himself. I mean, wow, that's a really deep and surprisingly common fear, right? We get so wrapped up in the chase that we're scared of who we might be after we cross the finish line. It's a huge trap to be aware of on your own path.
Okay, so understanding all this is great, but what do you do with it? How do you actually apply it? Let's boil this whole journey down into 3 actionable lessons that you can start using right now.
It really comes down to these 3 things. Step 1. Define your treasure. Get ridiculously clear on what your personal legend is. What's the one thing you really want to achieve? Step 2. Pay attention to the omens. Start noticing those signals, the random opportunities, the market feedback, those gut feelings. Stop writing them off as just coincidence. And step 3, and this is a big one, enjoy the marvels. Don't get so hyper-focused on the goal that you completely miss the journey.
And that last point is captured perfectly in this little story. A boy is sent to the wisest man in the world to find the secret to happiness. The wise man hands him a spoon with 2 drops of oil in it and says, "Go explore my palace, but don't spill the oil." So the boy walks around, but he's so focused on the spoon, he sees nothing. The wise man sends him out again, but this time says to really look at all the beauty. The boy comes back totally blown away by what he saw, but of course, the oil is gone. And the secret? Well, it's pretty clear. You have to see all the marvels of the world, but never forget the drops of oil on the spoon. It's about balance.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground here. So let's just do a quick recap of the most important takeaways before we talk about what you can do next.
So here are the 5 big mindset shifts. Number 1, you have to reject that lie that you're not in control. You absolutely are. 2, define and, more importantly, commit to your personal legend. 3, start looking for those signs of support that show up once you're on the path. 4, be aware that the fear of success can be just as paralyzing as the fear of failure. And 5, always balance the focus on your destination with actually enjoying the journey.
Look, these ideas are powerful, but they don't mean much until you act on them. If your personal legend involves growing your business and you're ready to stop being the dreamer and start being the pursuer, we can help with that. If you want to find more clients and start making your goals a reality, you can book a free strategy call with us at CT Marketing. Just use the link below.
So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. Think about that crystal merchant, stuck in the comfort of his dream. What's the one dream that you've been putting off? And what is the smallest possible first step you could take, like today, to start making it real? Thanks for watching.